Now, directly after the opening HTML tag, you're going to find the document's head. Now, the head element is where you'll place information about the document, references to things like external scripts and styles, and additional instructions to the browser about how the document should be rendered. Okay? Now, before we get to adding the head of the document, we first remember we have to have the HTML tag. So let's create a document declaration in the beginning. Doc type HTML. That's our declaration. Now, after the document type declaration, I'm going to add an HTML tag along with the language attribute, which says my page is in English. And after HTML tag, I'm going to enter the head tag. There we go. So there are a couple of things that we want to go ahead and put inside the head tag. And the very first thing that we want to do is tell the user agents which character encoding to use for the page. So to do that, I'm going to use a meta tag. Now, when we talk about HTML syntax, there are tags which do not need a closing tag. Meta tags are like that. Meta tags don't need a closing tag. All they need is the initial opening tag right here. So I'm going to create a meta tag, and then after meta, I'm going to open up an attribute. In this case, I'm going to select the attribute known as character set or char set. And I'm going to set the value of this char set to UTF-8, which is a pretty standard character encoding. And then I'm going to close the meta tag with the right angle bracket. That's it. And that's all we're going to do there. Now, this is something that you should do for each of your HTML documents. Add a character encoding standard that is going to inform the browser which encoding to use. Now, there is another meta tag that HTML5 introduced to let web designers take control over the viewport through the meta tag. Now, what is a viewport? Well, the viewport is the user's visible area of a page, and it varies with the device and the screen sizes. And we have to see whether the user is viewing the web on the mobile phone or a computer screen. So in order for you to arrange your web pages rather mobile friendly or screen friendly, you should include the meta viewport element in all your web pages. So setting the viewport to make your website look good on all devices works like this. Name should be viewport, and then content, add another attribute known as content, and add width is equals to device width, comma, initial scale equals 1.0. All right. Now, after entering this meta information, you should be worried free about whether your web page is going to work on mobile or not. Now, some browsers are automatically going to show the web pages in a mobile responsive way, but if, let's say, you are using a browser that doesn't have this option or an inbuilt feature of viewports, then you have to declare it. I mean, it's a good practice to add by your own self. Now, you can use meta tag to define keywords for search engines so that your website could be found easily on search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. So using the meta tag, you're going to be declaring the name, let's say description, and then the content, let's say whatever content you want to post, content, let's say Google tutorials. That's it. So if someone searched Google tutorials, your website we'll be using this information as a keyword for search engine, okay? Now let's say if you want to name the author of the web page or the designer of the web page, you can do that by using the same meta tag, but this time you're going to use the name as author, all right? And content, you can simply say, well, content belongs to John Doe, all right? Great. Now, as I mentioned, that you can add internal or external style sheets and scripts in the head tag, inside the head tag as well. But for now, we're just going to be working with the meta tags and the title. Let me add the title of the page as well and say example page. Okay. So yeah, you can include CSS files and JavaScript files, but right now we're just going to be looking at the meta tags in detail, and we did that. I hope you have gained the concept of adding meta tags, and you also learned the importance of using them in your web page. See you in the next lecture.